turtle, a plastic bag. We finally banned single-use plastic bags in Queensland from this month. Many of you have probably seen the iconic picture of a turtle choking on a plastic bag. We associate directly our unmanaged plastic waste with these animals. We are then led to think that biodegradable bags or other green tech solution will save our oceans. But we're missing part of the story. I spent the last 11 years of my life fighting for the environment. I cleaned beaches here in Australia, in South America, also as a diver. I fought for more regulation of the Amazon forest. And even here in Queensland, I collaborated with the ex-environmental minister to ban single-use plastic bags. Really, from politicians to children, I work with many different stakeholders in many different arenas. And today, I would like to share with you one important point. In all the arenas where I've been active, I kept hearing that we need to fight for the environment for the future generations. Well, let me tell you something. I was born in 1992, year of the first Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, where finally politicians agreed that something was going wrong with our planet. I am that future generation. I inherited a sick planet. I would have loved much more to be here today talking about something else, maybe my creative skills, that by the way I don't have, so I'm just gonna stick on the topic. When I overcame small and medium challenges, I always felt that something was missing in the narrative. I couldn't choose to focus just on one social issue or just on one ecosystem. I had to find the root of the problem. I had to find what was causing all these issues around the world. I decided to focus on the economic system. I know, these words sound a bit boring and a lot scary. But today, it's more important than ever due to the fast-growing and widespread impact of the globalized market. We need to address the failing of our economic system, which is creating social and environmental destruction. Let's go back to our plastic example. The anti-plastic bags campaign around the world communicates that we need to reduce these bags because of their effects to the environment. We therefore build a relationship with the waste side of this material. But in fact, look at this cycle. This plastic bag that I have in my hand, it has been produced using energy and other resources. It has been transported, and just at the end it has been used, and probably just for a few minutes before becoming waste. These plastic bags show perfectly how we are led to think just to the waste side of it, just to the outputs, ignoring the inputs. This plastic bag is also a perfect example of a linear economy, where we make, we use, and we dispose. Understanding the life cycle of what we use is fundamental, because during the production-consumption cycle, we create many negative externalities, which are basically all the impacts created by the system that they are not even fully integrated in the final cost. Those impacts can be greenhouse gases emission, water contamination, light pollution, noise pollution, congestion, and so on. So the question is, do I really need a plastic bag? Even if we could produce perfect biodegradable ones, do we really need to produce them? We need to carry this question, do I really need it? Or better, do I really need to buy it? For every item in our life. Because in fact, the social and environmental crises that we're facing today are due to our hungry economic system based on a consumption culture. We live in a consumer society, which basically means that a large percentage of the population devotes most of its time acquiring goods or services, shopping. We buy too many things that we don't really need. And the market, in order to grow, in order to increase profits, influences us to buy even more. However, it's important to understand how we got to this overconsumption culture. In 2004, Elizabeth Cohen, American history professor, outlined how our consumptive habits grow out of post-World War II needs to stimulate the economy. People were encouraged to spend, to consume, to rebuild economic growth. And since then, we kept consuming clothes, DVDs, tools, phone, and much more, despite the impacts. Consumption, it's an important relationship between human and nature. However, in our growth-driven system, it's uncommon, especially in political agendas and media, to relate the environmental degradation to our consumption culture. But, as Ivanova and team showed in 2014, household consumption alone is responsible for 60% of the greenhouse gases emission and up to 80% of total resource use, which basically means that most of our planet resources are used just to produce goods to feed our economic system. So, now that our economy is not sustainable anymore, we need to build and integrate those social environmental strategies into our system. We need to move from economic growth, shopping, competition, to a prosperity based on collaborating and sharing. It's an incredible time to be alive and explore new systems, such as a sharing and collaborative economy. A collaborative economy is basically defined as the sharing of unused and underutilized assets. And today, through decentralized marketplace and networks, we can unlock the value of the stuff that we have. We can, through borrowing, lending, swapping, shape people's behavior. Because we need to tell another story, a different one than the one that tells us that the more we have, the happier we can be. When I talk about a sharing economy, I refer to a real sharing economy that allows collaborative consumption, which basically means that allows us to buy less stuff and prioritize access over ownership. We can all adopt a resource-light lifestyle. And probably some of you are thinking that means going from this to this. But in fact, I'm wearing second-hand clothes. It's feasible. Goods must be used more intelligently, shared and reused in order to be kept longer in the use phase. Let's have a look at those tools, for example. These expensive, resource-intensive tools that probably most of us have at home, and they're somewhere gathering dust. A power drill is used on an average household for a maximum of 3 hours per year, when in fact the potential use of it can be 20 or more hours. When is the last time you used your drill? Yeah, so I'm here today to introduce you to the tool library movement. Tool libraries are community hubs that provide local sharing systems. Tool libraries have spread all across the world. We have now a few in Australia, there are a few in Europe, quite a few in Canada, and a lot in the US, because we know America's great, right? A tool library, it works basically as a book library. But instead of books, people can borrow hand and power tools and other equipment, such as camping and sport gear. People can influence the market. In this way, for example, not only we can prolong the use phase of these items, but we can choose to favor products with a longer durability, and we can fight planned obsolescence. This jigsaw here, I received it with many other tools from a removal company. As you can see, it has never been opened before, and it was going to landfill. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the waste that our society is creating. And now, this jigsaw and other tools are part of a tool library and can be shared and reused again and again when I don't use them for public speaking. Those people chose to borrow rather than to buy those items. And not just because they wanted to reduce their environmental footprint, but they also wanted to save space and money. Because, in fact, most of tool libraries around the world adopted membership schemes, which basically means that they allow people, for the price of one power tool, to access 100 of them. We can all transition from previous cycle of consumption to new economic systems. Through a use-oriented economy, we can achieve efficiency, consistency, and most importantly, sufficiency. All right, now we're gonna all walk away from this event and be absorbed by news regarding immigration, climate change, unemployment. Or we can zoom out and reflect on how all these issues are linked to economic growth and therefore to consumption. We live in a finite planet with limited resources. How can we reduce our impact? Well, first of all, please bring your reusable bag. And secondly, use or create your own local sharing systems because it's time to build a new economy.